A week after firmly opposing a prisoner swap with the Taliban, the president of Afghanistan has now backpedaled. Ashraf Ghani has signed a decree to release thousands of Taliban prisoners. What made him change his mind and what lies ahead for the future of Afghanistan? In this report, we explore. To start with, this decision by Ashraf Ghani marks the beginning of negotiations between the Afghan government and the Taliban, but there are some conditions attached. Firstly, every prisoner released must give a written pledge that they will not return to the battlefield. Second, and more importantly, the prisoners will be released only in batches. That's right. 1,500 of them will be released first, that too in batches of 100 per day. This process is expected to begin this Saturday itself. 1,500 insurgents will be freed during the weekend. What about the others then? The remaining 3,500 will be released only once the talks officially begin. According to Ashraf Ghani's plan, 500 prisoners will be released every 2 weeks until all 3,500 of the remaining have been set free. The Afghanistan president does not wish to take any chances. Overriding all of his conditions, of course, is the promise to reduce violence considerably. Now, these conditions have not gone down well with the Taliban. They say that these terms are against the agreement that they signed with the United States. They want all 5,000 prisoners to be released together. That's not all. The Taliban has its own set of conditions. On your screens are now some tweets by Suhail Shaheen, a Taliban spokesperson. He says that the detainees will be acceptable if verified by their team, irrespective of how they are handed over. Moreover, he says the names of the detainees must match the list that they gave to the United States. Their doubts seem irrelevant when you look at the scale of violence that they are still unleashing. In the last 24 hours alone, the Taliban has carried out 32 attacks in 15 provinces of the country. 5 security personnel and 2 civilians are said to have lost their lives. The result, even the United States is questioning its own optimism now, despite the UN Security Council backing the United States' efforts. But the deputy US ambassador to United Nations surprisingly stated that the current high level of violence by the terrorists is not conducive for advancing the peace process.
We acknowledge the Taliban have taken steps to stop attacks in cities and against major bases. But more needs to be done, and we urge them to also reduce violence against Afghan forces in the countryside, to give intra-Afghan negotiations and peace the opportunities to succeed. Violence at these levels risks drawing both sides into a vicious cycle, serves no one, and undermines peace.
Given these developments, Ashraf Ghani's decision, with all its conditions, by and large, seems justified. But is it only the violence which brought about a change of mind as far as his decision is concerned? It may have, but the unending power tussle within Afghanistan is also defining his policies. Ashraf Ghani's main political rival, Abdullah, is consistently questioning his legitimacy. Both the leaders have now formed parallel governments. Talks to avoid a split government in Kabul have failed so far. Ashraf Ghani is in dire need of international recognition and acknowledgement. To add to this and to add to his worries, there are reports that the US leveraged its support in exchange for the release of the Taliban prisoners. The Afghan president has some tough decisions to take in the coming days. Political instability could let things go for a toss once again.
And we're meeting with them.